Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar. Welcome to the session. My dear learners, you've got registered with Indian Aesthetics with special reference to Indian classical dance Kathak. Before we study about or before we discuss about, before we know about Indian classical dance Kathak, we should have a little understanding or we should get introduced to other Indian classical dances too. So today we will get introduced to very briefly to the rest of the other Indian classical dances. So it would help us to understand how Indian classical dances are different from the other dances in the rest of the countries in the globe universe, and how Kathak a little bit differs from the other Indian classical dances. So now today we start understanding the various Indian classical dances. First, we'll discuss about Bharatanatyam, which is very popular and famous. And you know, most of the time in India, even what happens when a person is not introduced to many other Indian classical dances and sees any of the Indian classical dance performance, many a times they name Indian classical dance as Bharatanatyam. When we talk about Bharatanatyam, the origin of Bharatanatyam is Tamil Nadu, that's South India, southern part of India. It originated from the ancient temples of Tamil Nadu and was traditionally performed by Devdasis, and that's why it was also known as Dasi Attam. Just try to understand all Indian classical dances, they have the background in some spiritual journey or religious background. In the initial stage of all Indian classical dances, they have very close association with the temples. So, southern part of India in Tamil Nadu, Bharatanatyam started as temple dance, and the girls or women, they would dedicate their life to Almighty, to the temples. They would call themselves as Dasi of Almighty God. So, it was known as Dasi Attam, and it was the women offering their prayers in form of dance. They were known as Devdasis. When we talk about costumes, you had a glance in the first slide, the previous slide also. A specially stitched costume resembling a sari, generally they are of 5 pieces, often made of silk with contrast border, very bright colors, and the border would be contrast, generally plain saris with border, contrast color. Dancers wear elaborate temple jewelry made of semi-precious stones and metal. Very attractive, appealing jewelries, very heavy loaded jewelries they wear. When it comes to musical instruments, Carnatic music will be there. Key instruments including mridangam, that's a percussion, manjira, supported by flute, violin, veena and wooden bass small stick. When Bharatanatyam is being performed, generally the Kalaguru who makes a dancer's dance, they keep on tapping on a wooden piece, a stick. So that helps to maintain the laya, tempo of the music dance. When we talk about Bharatanatyam, generally it is performed in 6 steps. The sequence is in 6 steps. It starts with Allaripu, then Jatiswaram, then Shabdam, Varnam, Padam and Tillana. I will not go in detail of it because for every performance we can speak for hours together. When we talk about the chief exponents who contributed to make this dance very popular, and they created Guru Shishya Parampara also. Now you listen, dear learners, in every Indian classical dance, since the initiation of it, origin of it, there was very strong Guru Shishya Parampara. That Shishya, the disciples will stay with Guru in a kind of a Gurukul Parampara. and the students, disciples will not be charged of any fees. But what would happen that when the guru grows comparatively older and when the students, learners, disciples, they start performing, they start teaching, so whatever they would be earning out of it, they would be using it for the Gurukul, or they would help the teachers to survive. Rukmini Devi Arundel, Bala Saraswati ji, Mridalini Sarabhai, Yamini Krishnamurti, Padma Subramanyam, Allama Valli, these are the great exponents in the field of Bharatanatyam, Indian classical dance. We are going to discuss about Kathak. Here also you can see two Kathak dancers. In Kathak, generally two Gharana, Jaipur Gharana will have costumes of chania choli, and male would wear dhoti. When it comes to Kathak, Lucknow Gharana, the women will wear long skirt with a kurta, and generally male will wear angarkha. Kathak originated from Uttar Pradesh, North India, derived from the word katha. It means the story. Katha kahe so kathik kahlai. So people who used to tell katha, the stories, with dance. Kathak dancers were traditionally storytellers in temples and later evolved in the Mughal courts. Now you see, Kathak was the dance style in Uttar Pradesh. It could not keep itself limited to temples. It came in the streets also, in the society also. It entered to the Mughal emperors, their courts also. So it kept on evolving, and that's why Jaipur Gharana, Lucknow Gharana, Banaras Gharana, Indore Gharana, and many a times, with more creative Kala gurus, they kept on evolving this dance style. As I told you that when it comes to costumes, female wear lehenga choli with dupatta or a churidar kurta, which is known as anarkali also, with a dupatta. Male, they wear kurta churidar or a dhoti, generally with Jaipur Gharana dhoti, and angarkha and churidar in Lucknow Gharana. Both wear gungrus, that's ankle belts. Now you see, this is something very important in most of the Indian classical dances. Western dances, they do not have gungrus, ankles. Here they have ankle belts. So that's very important. That are integral to the sound of the dance. Now you see, in Kathak, they wear very heavy gungrus, ankle belts. Maybe many a times 150 in a one leg, 1 feet. In that way, 300. And they used to be very heavy also. In weight also, they used to be very heavy. Musical instruments generally are Hindustani classical music is used in this. Instruments include tabla and pakhavaj. With more of Jaipur Gharana, Paran and all this, pakhavaj is more used. Otherwise, most of the time, tablas are used. Harmonium, sarangi, sitar and flute. Depends on what kind of musical dance items is being performed, what kind of bandishes are being presented to the audience. Special components when we talk about tatkar, very important footwork, with various tals, it will come up with various compositions, different compositions in various tals. Then chakra, that spins, spin of 8 steps, 5 steps, 3 steps, 2 steps, 1 step, lot of variations and spins. Then bhava, expressive storytelling through facial expressions and subtle gestures. We have got the nikas also, got the bhav also, then shlok, thumri, all those things are there. Beautiful. Emphasis on rhythmic patterns, improvisation and interaction with the musicians. It is known as jugalbandi also. Later on we will discuss about it. Many a times certain compositions would be played on pakhavaj or tabla, the same rhythmic pattern would be performed or would be danced on by the dancer. For example, if we take up dagatita gadigana da nada nada da ta da. Now, tabla player will play this. Dagatita gadigana da ta da. The dancers will perform. Dagatita gadigana da ta da. Dagatita gadigana da ta da. Dagatita gadigana da ta da. Da ta da. Da ta da, data, data, da, da. Now you see, this is a jugalbandi. A musician, tabla player will play some musical notes and the same would be performed by the dancers. So that's a kind of a jugalbandi that we come across most of the time in Kathak. Chief exponents Birju Maharaj ji, Sitara Devi ji, Shona Narayan ji, Kumudini Lakya ji, Saraswati Sen ji. Now you see, whenever we speak about our Gurujan, our teachers, the disciples are supposed to speak their names, name them, touching their ears. Why? Because a disciple, a shishya, should not be, that's a kind of an insult to the Guru, should not speak their names. But when we introduce that, we say that, okay, my Guru, I'm speaking their names. So this is the way generally a disciple, an artist would speak the name of the teachers. Kathakali. Kathakali is very popular, and I would say when it comes to the attire and makeup, the most heavily loaded in case of makeup and costume in classical dance. Origin Kerala, Southern India, a highly stylized classical Indian dance drama known for its elaborate makeup. You'll be surprised to know that most of the time the makeup of Kathakali takes 10 to 12 hours because there would be layers of makeup, very heavy. And vibrant costumes. Costumes also used to be very heavy. So vibrant costumes, heavy costumes, and detailed gestures. Because the performer, the dancer wears a mask, and through the makeup, the gestures should come forward. You know, the movement of facial, very small parts of our face, be it be lips, the cheeks, eyes, eyebrows, very strong movement. When it comes to costumes, extremely elaborate and heavy costume including large headgear, that's known as kirtanam also, the mask, voluminous skirts, very heavy skirt, and generally it is performed by male. Even the female characters also most of the time are performed by male performers. And intricate ornaments. The makeup that is highly stylized and can take hours to apply, as I told you, 10 to 12 hours, signifying character types. Now something very important here, male, female, their faces would be colored differently. If villainous male, the color would be different. If saints would be there, or kings, positive characters there. So color communication is also there. When we talk about verbal, non-verbal communication in dance, in Kathakali, there is very strong color communication also. Musical instruments. That's a chanda, that's a drum. Madalam, that's a drum again. Idikka, hourglass shaped drum. Shank, and cymbals. Vocalists sing the narrative. It is a storytelling. So the story continues with the music piece. When we talk about special components, mudras, very strong use of mudras, and there's a very loud dance style. I would say amongst all the Indian classical dances, Kathakali is the loudest in its movement dance style. Extensive use of 24 principal mudras, that's a hand gestures, to convey complex narratives and emotions. Then Navarasa. Navarasa, and very strong communication of Navarasa with facial expressions to depict the 9 classical emotions. They know different rasa. There's a Hasya rasa, Raudra rasa, Bhaya rasa, Bhayanaka rasa, Adbhuta rasa. Various rasas are there. Then body language, very vigorous, athletic movements, often depicting mythological stories from Hindu epics. Generally, they come with the stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, they come from those stories. So very vigorous, athletic movements, often depicting mythological stories from Hindu epics. Performances are typically long, often lasting through the night. They start comparatively later part of evening, late evening, till early morning they continue. When we talk about chief exponents, they are Kalamandalam Gopi, Kottakal Shivaraman, Sadanam Krishna Kutti, Margi Vijay Kumarji. These are the famous dance teachers, dance gurus, dancers. Next is Kuchipudi. Here you can also see that, comparatively, again, a kind of a sari. Here you can see that jewelries are different. Origin Andhra Pradesh, South India, named after the village of Kuchipudi in Krishna district. It originated as a dance drama tradition, costumes, a pleated sari like costume, often in bright colors. You can see that most of the costumes are bright color, because in India, bright colors are the colors of festivity, celebrations, where every individual celebrates the existence, life. Here, with a pallu draped over the shoulder, dancers wear light makeup and specific jewelry, including a distinctive headpiece and waist belt. This is something very distinctive, different. Now, in comparison to Kathakali, here the makeup is comparatively a lighter one. When we talk about musical instruments, Carnatic music is used here. Instruments include mridangam, violin, flute, tambura, and tambura is again a stringed instrument, and sometimes harmonium also, but comparatively harmonium is used less. When we think about Kuchipudi's special components, a tarangam, a unique item where the dancer performs on brass plate, often with a pot of water on their head and diyas, lamps in their hands. Chamatkriti. Everything, when we talk about performance, be it dance, drama, the aesthetics ask for chamatkriti, that's a surprise. The audience should feel, wow, oh my God. So the chamatkriti, surprise, unexpected thing. So Tarangam associates somewhere with that. Vachika abhinaya, that's associated with linguist or addressing, speaking. Spoken dialogue by the dancer, a rare feature among classical dances. Generally, Kuchipudi has Vachikam, all of them do not have exact Vachikam. Jatis, that is energetic and brisk footwear. Jatis we will discuss later on also, when we will discuss about Dasha Prana of Indian aesthetics. Combines nritya, that's pure dance, then nritya, that expressive dance, and natya, that's a dramatic side of dance or performance. When we talk about chief exponents, Siddhendra Yogi, credited with formalizing the Kuchipudi dance style, Vimpati Chinna Satyam, Lakshmi Narayan Shastri, Yamini Reddy, Raja and Radha Reddy. Odissi. When we talk about Odissi dance style, obviously the name itself suggests from where it comes. Odisha, East India, it originated from. One of the oldest surviving dance forms. It originated in the temples of Odisha, performed by Maharishi, that's a temple dancers. Here, my dear learners, you can understand, realize that Indian classical dances have very old association with temples. When we talk about costumes, a brightly colored saris, as usual, often sambalpuri or ikat silk. Now you see, most of the costumes, they wear the cloth, their pattern, their style, the material, print, everything talks about where they origin from. Now, when we talk about Sambalpuri or Ikat, that's Odisha. So, costume also communicates the region it belongs to. A brightly colored sari, often Sambalpuri or Ikat silk, draped in unique style with a plait in front, allowing for leg movements. Most of the Indian classical dances where the sari is worn, you would observe that when there would be movement of legs, the pleats would distribute itself. It would expand itself, adding beauty to the aesthetics that eyes, cherish. Dancers will elaborate silver jewelry, including a distinctive headpiece, mukutu or a mathami, armlets, and a waist belt. Musical instruments, Odissi music is used. Instruments include maradla, that's a percussion, flute, sitar violin, harmonium, and cymbals. When we think about Odissi special component, tribhangi, when we shall discuss about Ang, Upang and Pratyang, they talk about the various parts of body, how they are divided. There is a Tribhangi style. If you look at Krishna, Krishna stands like this. Now, when you see that it is Tribhang, that the whole body is divided in three parts. This is one, this is two, and this is three. So the head is like this with the flute in the hands, and then the second part of body goes like this, and then the legs are like this. So that is Tribhangi. The character triple blind posture, that's a head, torso and knees bent in different directions, giving it a sculptural beauty, aesthetics. Chauka, a square-like stand symbolizing Lord Jagannath. Puri, Lord Jagannath, again Odisha. Bhava, that's graceful movements, lyrical expression and a focus on devotion. More of Bhakti Ras one would find in Odissi. Often depicts themes related to Lord Jagannath and Vaishnavism. There's a Shaivism and Vaishnavism. Shiv and Shakti, Shaivism, Vaishnavism and Shaktism. These three are there in Indian classical dances. In Odissi, we find more of Vaishnavism. Chief exponents, Kelucharan Mohapatra, Sanjukta Panigrahi, Sonal Mansingh, Madhvi Mudgal, Aruna Mohanty. Manipuri, a very beautiful, graceful dance, and you look at very different costumes also. Again, as the name it is suggestive that it origins from Manipur. Manipuri, that's northeast India, rooted in the Vaishnavite tradition. Now see, Vaishnavite tradition, again, Vaishnavite is Krishna, related to Krishna. Manipuri is compound of two Sanskrit words. It's a compound, complex combination of two Sanskrit words. Again, Sanskrit, there are 7 most ancient languages of the world. My dear learners, be proud Indian that out of 7 most ancient languages, 2 of them are from India. Bharata, one is Sanskrit and other is Tamil. And Sanskrit is in the initial stage of Indian classical dances. Sanskrit played vital role. Even in southern part of India also the dances they grew. Sanskrit was based, then southern languages, and now with a lot of improvisation changes, they've started using local languages also with Hindi or maybe now in Gujarati also. Particularly the Ras Leela of Radha and Krishna, they are performed more in Manipuri. Manipuri is compound of 2 Sanskrit words. The Mani means jewel and Pur means land or city. So it talks about the jewel city. Costumes, female, a unique, a cylindrical skirt called kumil. You could see here again, I would show you, look at the skirt very differently. It keeps itself away from the legs. So a cylindrical skirt called kumil or putloi, often decorated with mirrors and embroidery, worn over a stiff underskirt. A translucent veil covers the head. Again, look, the face is being seen from the very transparent cloth, a veil. Male generally wears dhoti, often white or yellow, and a turban. Again, turban carries that Manipuri flavor. Musical instruments, pang, that's a Manipuri special drum, kartal, harmonium, flute and penna, a stringed instrument particularly from that part of India. When we talk about special components, gentle and fluid movements. Generally in Manipuri, very fluid, beautiful movements are there. So, very gentle movements characterized by soft, undulating and graceful movements, avoiding sharp jerks or abrupt transitions. If you look at Kathak, very sharp jerks, in Bharatanatyam and everything, very stiff movements, very stiff mudras, but in Manipuri, very soft, jerkless movements are there. Ras Leela, the core Manipuri dance depicting the divine love story of Radha and Krishna. Bhava, emphasis on devotion and spiritual expressions more, often with subtle and facial expressions. More of bhava we come across. Footwork is soft and almost unheard, unlike other classical forms with prominent ankle belts. Now, this is something very important, that in most of the Indian classical dances, the voice, the noise of gongru is very strong and very clear. Sometimes dominates complete performance also. For example, palta, tukda, or ladis, very strong and clear. But here the sounds of ankle bells, gungru, is very soft, very not distracting. The expressions and that river-like movements attracts the audience here. When we talk about chief exponents, Guru Bipin Singh, Darshana Javeri ji, Naina Javeri ji, Nirmala Devi ji, Rajkumar Singhjit Singh, these are the main exponents. Mohiniyattam. Have a glance over the color of sari also, which is very special for Mohiniyattam. It again originated from Kerala, southern part of India. The name literally means dance of the enchantress. That's Mohini. Mohini. Again, we should visit the Sanskrit. Mohini is a woman that attracts, that moves, that attracts you, appeals you. So it's a Mohini. It is a solo dance form. Costume, a distinctive white or off-white sari with a golden border, a kasavu, which is known as, often worn with a pleated fan at the front. You can have a glance at most of the dancers have pleated fan-like sari part in front side, adding beauty to the dancer's movement, especially the leg movements. And most of them have a belt on the waist belt that adds aesthetic beauty, shape of the dances that comes out, the movements also, when it is tied at the waist part. Often worn with pleated fan at the front, minimal makeup, not much of makeup, and traditional Kerala temple jewellery. Now you see, the jewellery style is also known as temple jewellery, very beautiful jewellery. Temple jewellery, temple dance. Everywhere the life keeps on moving around the temple. So individual's worldly life was never so far away from the temple life or spiritual life. Musical instruments, Carnatic music is used. Instruments include erekka, mridangam, violin, flute and veena. Special components, swaying movements characterized by graceful, gentle and swaying body movements reminiscent of the coconut palms and backwaters of Kerala. That reminds us of, again, movement comparatively soft and graceful and gentle. And that's why only, the way backwater, the river moves, that movement we see here. Lasya, emphasis on feminine grace, sensuality and subtle expression. Lasya, in this one of the sessions earlier, I mentioned that Tandav and Lasya. Tandav is more masculine, manly, very strong, jerky movements. When it comes to Lasya, it is feminine, soft movements. In Mohiniyattam, we come across more of a soft movements. Eye movements, extensive use of subtle eye movements to convey emotions. That's a Nitra Abhinay. Abhinay, that's a drama, dance, Abhinay, expression, Nitra Abhinay. Nitra is eyes. So more expression with the help of eyes. So eyes communicate. Themes often revolve around love and devotion to Vishnu or Krishna. Again, devotion. And if visits southern part of India, Kerala, Shaivism and Vaishnavism is there. And in Vaishnavism, again, Krishna is there, Vishnu and Krishna. Chief exponents, Kalamandalam, Kalyanikutti, Amma, Sunanda Nayar, Gopika Varma, Pallavi Krishnan. These are the chief exponents. Earlier, there were 7 Indian classical dances and Sattriya was added as the 8th one. Origin Assam, Northeast India, developed in the 15th century by the great Vaishnavite saint and reformer Srimanta Shankardeva in the Satras. of Assam. These are monasteries of Assam. Costume, generally female, they wear pata silk, that is Assamese silk. Costumes often in white or off-white with red, blue or yellow borders, draped in a unique style. Traditional Assamese jewellery. Now you see this white sari with the red border, that's very common in Assam. Male, they wear dhoti and chadar, that's a shawl made of pata silk. Musical instrument, khola, that's a kind of a drum there. Tala, that's a sembalas. Flute, violin and harmonium. Special components. Ankya Nata, often performed as part of the Vaishnavite dramas, that is Ankya Nata, composed by Shankaradeva. Mati Akarasa, basic stances and exercises forming the foundation of the dance. Bhava, the focus on devotion, that the Bhakti Rasa. Again, my dear learners, you would keep on observing that everywhere Bhakti Rasa is there. Everywhere devotion, spiritualism, everywhere it is there. And storytelling, most of them have storytelling, often depicting episodes from the lives of Krishna and Rama. Combine both masculine and feminine. That's a Paurushik, Tandava and Lasya styles with a unique blend of grace and vigor. Chief exponents, Maniram Datta, Moktara, Jatina Goswami, Ganakanta Bora, Indira P.P. Bora, Sharodi Shaikia. My dear learners, I hope you could at least had a glance or understand that there are 8 Indian classical dances. Earlier there were 7. The 8th one was added. What kind of, from the images, at least you could get a glance over it, understand it in brief, that from where do they origin, what kind of components they have, what kind of costumes, jewelry, musical instruments they use, and the great exponents they contributed to the origin, growth, and development of those Indian classical dances. My dear learners, wish you very happy learning. See you in the next session. Thank you.